Hi, my name is Claire. I'm with Hero Smith, the marketing coordinator, and I am meeting with Chad, the founder. I am a small business owner. I've heard about email marketing, and it is so daunting to me. Could you please kind of explain why it might be important? Um, just help me.
Well, a lot of small business owners feel the way you do, Claire. But email is incredibly important. It is a platform that's become almost forgotten about just because everybody uses email every day. My friend Reed Meyer used to say, he hosted a marketing event once and he said, how many people in this room use Instagram? And there was probably like 25 people there, and 15 of them raised their hand. And how many people use Facebook? And like 12 people raised their hand. He said, how many people use email? And every single person in the room, of course, raised their hand because everyone sort of has to use email. I mean, you can't even create a social media account if you don't have an email address to set it up with. So it's an incredibly important channel, and we just kind of forget about it, I think, as small business owners sometimes. But it's a really great opportunity to get in front of your customers at a time when they're available. And if you use email to really provide value to them, you can create something that they want and look forward to, receiving. And I think that's the real key to this is, having some consistently delivered valuable content that makes people want to open your emails.
That makes so much sense to me. I never really thought about how you need an email even to just have a phone to access
Exactly.
your photos or anything like that. So that makes it that much more valuable. One thing that I get stuck on too is social media and its relationship with email marketing. I know the two can go hand in hand, but again, that can be something that I just don't really know where to start or if it's something that I really need.
Yeah. Well, the trick to the whole thing is really, social media is a great outreach medium, right? It's a great medium to all the different platforms, no matter what it is, whichever one your customer uses is the key thing. It's a great way to raise awareness about your business and drive traffic to your website if you do it well. And then, I encourage everyone to have a way on your website to gather email addresses, to if you're, for instance, a popular thing to do is like blog, right? It helps you with your SEO. You can use social media to drive traffic to your website. Try to embed an email sign-up form right in your blog article, for example, because if people like the value of the content that you delivered, on your blog or video or whatever it was, on your website, then you can hopefully convert them into email users. I think another big thing too that people forget about email is make sure you're emailing all your past customers. They're your best source for referral business, but they're not thinking about you. They're thinking, they just called you when they needed help with whatever you helped them with in your business. So, but if you can continue to provide value to them after the sale via your email newsletter, then they have you're top of mind with them. So when they're out golfing with their buddy or at the yoga studio, they can say they hear their friends say, "Oh, I need help with whatever it is." In our case, it'd be like digital marketing. They'll remember you. They'll think of you because they just heard something really interesting in the newsletter you sent them last week. So it's a really powerful tool to keep it top of mind, and that's
But
so important.
that leads to a question about being like way too spammy, and because that's something that I know I have a big fear, and even my sister would say, oh, marketing, email marketing, that just keeps bothering me, what's that, like, you don't do that, do you, with your business? And I was like, well, I don't want to be that way, I want to
Yeah.
add value, but what's the best maybe recipe or calendar schedule to have so that you're not coming off as, hey, use my services, buy
Right,
my
right.
stuff. Me
Yeah,
neither.
I think that's a huge concern. It's probably the biggest fear I hear from the small business owners that we work with. They're like, I don't want to spam people. And what I always say to them is, don't spam people then, that you don't have to, people, you don't have to like ask for the sale or whatever in every email, um, just by providing value in form of whatever content you can, and it doesn't always have to be something you wrote. Like we do pretty good with blogging and making videos and stuff like that. So it's, we use that as a catch-all to re-deliver that content, but if you're sending value and you're not being salesy, people will appreciate it. If you come up, if someone signs up for your newsletter and immediately the next day gets a, buy now kind of email, yeah, they're probably going to be turned off. But if they get an email that somehow helps them in their business or helps them as a person or inspires them, they could really appreciate it and maybe even forward it to one of their friends or just save it. It's interesting, you can see all the data with email. And I think one of the cool things about ours is that, like, our system is that we can see how many times people opened email. And for me, that's a good indicator, of like how much awesome content that we're putting out towards our customers and our prospective customers who are in our email database. They're opening it multiple times. We must be having some pretty cool stuff in there that they're enjoying. So I think that's really key. And then just don't over email. Figure out a pace that you and your prospective customers or current customers are comfortable with. Frankly, it takes some work to put together an email and make it look professional. I mean, we do this for clients all the time, and they just kind of feed us what they want to talk about, and we sculpt it into a beautiful email. So but it's about finding that pace that makes sense. 1 month is a great minimum. I'd say a maximum might be once a week. But consider this, if you're trying to provide value in every email and you're doing it once a week, that's a lot of content or value you're going to find. Yes, you can like use things that are related to your industry that are just like in the news, but that can get cumbersome. So it's all about working out a good pace for your schedule. After all, if you're probably running a business or something like that, so you have a lot to do. So figure out the pace that works for you and for your customers. Trust me, if you email them too much, we'll start to see those unsubscribes go up. And that's a great indicator that, all right, maybe we should do bi-weekly instead of weekly emails,
That's really cool. And I think that helps really paint the picture of it's simple, but it can be complex if you overthink it with too much content or too much information. But just like you were saying at the beginning, there's this value that you can provide for them. And if you can continue to do that, I see it makes me a little less worry as a small business owner to try to utilize that to have that connection with them. I think one important tool is having the social media kind of be the trail for the email, or be just a landing point, because that goes so fast, you just brief through it. But email, they're taking the time to sit and read, and this is their time.
Right. And it's like you might produce a lot of great content over a week for your social media channel. And, all of these platforms, be they Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, whatever it is, they don't favor people who aren't buying ads on their platforms. So you might have created something really great, and yet a lot of your following even missed it. So email's a great way to, as a catch-all that you can, a second opportunity to get that content in front of someone. And I think, because it's so ubiquitous in our lives, like we forget like how powerful it is. Email marketing has the highest ROI of any marketing channel. It's like a 40-to-1. So for every dollar that you spend on email marketing, you typically, the studies show that you get $40 back. So it's a really big value. I'm working right now on a website and marketing plan for a mortgage lender.
Mhm.
And he's a broker and he does a monthly email newsletter. He said that every single time his newsletter goes out, he gets 2 to 3 leads. That's real
Whoa.
value. You know, you can see there's that A to B, like, you know, prospective customer to a closed deal is pretty short when you
Wow.
consider that kind of thing.
And is email marketing expensive? I know, with Hero Smith, there might be a way to incorporate it, but is it something that can be costly to?
The cool thing about email marketing, and probably part of the reason that ROI is so high, it's like 4,000%, you know, 40 to 1, is because most email marketing platforms, you know, the typical ones are like Sendinblue, Constant Contact, MailChimp. They start out free. So until you build up a good base of 1,000 or so people, you're not really getting charged. They're almost all based on a freemium model, which is really helpful to small business owners. And by the time you do have 1,000 people in your email database, frankly, email should be converting for you and creating customers or sales, or at the very least leads. And so it's kind of worth it at that point to pay for it. So it's one of the rare cases, I think, in the whole marketing sphere that you get to play before you pay, which is pretty awesome.
That is really neat. Kind of test it out, see what works for you and your business and your customers and the layout and schedule. Well, shoot, it sounds like a low hanging fruit, if you ask me. Something that
Yes.
a lot of people should jump on if they haven't already. I know that I'm gonna be more proper and try to get myself in line with the email, because just as we're speaking, an email popped up.
All
That's
right, right.
another way to contact. So this is a perfect example right here. Well, thank you, Chad. I really appreciate it. I didn't know if there's anything else that you wanted to add. I think you covered everything in terms of
I think we
easing
covered the
my
basics.
worries about email marketing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we covered the basics. All I will add is that you do our email newsletter and you do an amazing job. So,
Thank you.
so, so I really appreciate that. I'm sure for your other, you know, entrepreneurial adventures in the yoga realms and whatnot, that it would be a great tool for you and you do an awesome job. So
Thank you. I appreciate it. I've had good help.
thank you.